Every physical visible force is merely a manifestation of one of these great invisible streams of energy that functions in space. To the ancients, the earth had invisible principles. The earth was not merely a lump. The whole planet is a vast organism, a tremendous, vital, dynamic structure. For as the ancients put it, the earth is alive.
God did not create the universe. God became the universe.
The human being and the universe itself are both one and the same phenomena. In other words, every human being is a miniature universe, and each of us contains within us all the forces and possibilities of the greater universe.
Your eyes are the eyes of the universe. And when you look at an object, it's the universe looking at itself through those eyes.
Space within us, the pure conscious mind within us, and outer space are all one being, that we're all part of this huge, wonderful, infinite, quantum holographic universe that's awake.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
If there's a dimension called form, there's another dimension called thought. I call it thought. You can call it anything you want to. In philosophy, they call it the astral dimension. And the word disaster originates from this, to disassociate from the astral, or from this invisible dimension of you. And as long as you disassociate from this and live only here, you will have disasters in your life. Because you won't believe that somehow the part of you that thinks, that is thought, that creates thought, is essentially what your humanity is. And most folks don't get that. They think that this is it.
The only thing that's real is consciousness. And because we are all part of the greater universal being, we are all connected in a most fundamental way.
Many people come up with a different definition for consciousness in their studies. And it's really useful for us all to have an agreement when we get started here of what consciousness is. And one that I've found works really well, and I'll just throw it out as an idea, is that consciousness is the awareness of being aware. Whenever you've noticed yourself noticing something, you have been experiencing your own consciousness.
You see, the Big Bang occurred merely as a result of the Creator's will and intention to experience himself. And so it expanded outwards and manifested itself as consciousness into everything that exists. So not only are we a part of God, but we possess all the unlimited power to create as God does. And our free will was his greatest gift of all. Through the fabric of space and time, Scientists have recently been able to measure and demonstrate our connected consciousness.
The Global Consciousness Project is an evolutionary step out of 50 years of prior experiments. The experiments were looking at the relationship between mind and matter. I mean, it all devolves back into the question, what is the role of mind in the physical world?
A question tonight, can you actually measure the emotional outpouring in a worldwide crisis?
Sometimes scientists think that they have done just that. Their machines and computers found a bizarre pattern right after several global disasters.
CBS 2's Brendan Keefe explains this phenomenon.
September 11th deeply affected people far beyond New York and Washington. The attack sent shockwaves around the world, a global reaction that triggered a spike in a network of scientific instruments, just like a seismograph during an earthquake.
Each of those showed a similar pattern of change during that day.
Retired Princeton scientist Dr. Roger Nelson believes the emotional focus of millions of people on a single event, like 9/11, may form a global consciousness.
Does consciousness interact directly with the physical world?
To answer that question, Dr. Nelson and his colleagues deployed dozens of instruments around the world, random number generators. Basically, they're electronic coin flippers. Instead of heads or tails, each generates a 1 or a 0 200 times a second. If you flip a coin 100 times, you'd expect a result of about 50-50, 50 heads and 50 tails. But what if every time you flipped that coin, it came up heads? Not once, not twice, not 50 times, but 60, 70, or even 80, all of them heads.
We do that every second at each of, now we have about 65 places around the world.
When truly random, the line of data wanders back and forth around 50-50 in a pattern the researchers call a drunkard's walk.
And then on 9/11, it begins not being a drunkard's walk. It goes like this for 2 days.
It may sound bizarre, but Dr. Nelson and his team have been at this for the better part of a decade. The first spike showed up in 1997 with the death of Princess Diana. Other events like the Concorde crash, the Madrid train bombing, and the Pope's funeral all registered on those random number generators. But early on the morning of September 11th, the data went off the charts.
Several hours before the first plane hit.
How does it work, and what does it all mean? Even the scientists don't know. The implications go beyond science into philosophy and religion. All we know is this: at this very moment, around the globe, the random number generators keep flipping those virtual coins, waiting to record our collective reaction to the next major world event. At Princeton, Brendan Keefe, CBS 2 News.